On the outskirts of Majalengka, West Java, lies an abandoned industrial area, a desolate stretch of crumbling warehouses, cracked asphalt, and rusting gates. These ruins once marked the heart of a thriving textile industry during the 1980s. Among the silent skeletons of factories, one building stands out, the Chiptaguna Textile Factory. From a distance, it looks perfectly maintained. Its tall gray walls still stand firm, and its chimney has a faint coat of fresh paint. People who pass by at night swear they see lights glowing inside, and sometimes they hear the faint hum of machines, and even the shrill siren signaling a shift change at 2 a.m. But the truth is, Chiptaguna Textile Factory was officially shut down in 1998 after a massive fire claimed dozens of lives. Since then, no one has worked there, no electricity was ever reconnected, and the entire compound was sealed off. Yet, for reasons no one can explain, the building remains alive. This mystery drew public attention after content creator named Fajar Wichaksano uploaded a viral video on YouTube titled "The Factory That Still Runs Even After 20 Years of Closure." In the footage, Fajar and his team explore the site and capture something chilling. Shadowy figures operating machines, the rhythmic pounding of textile looms, and the sound of footsteps echoing across the concrete floors. The final moments of the video are the most disturbing. Fajar screams, the camera tumbles to the ground, and the footage cuts out. The next day, he disappeared. His car was found parked near the industrial zone, doors open, engine still running. Fajar was never seen again.
Chiptaguna Textile Industry, founded in 1973, was once one of West Java's most productive garment suppliers, employing over 500 workers. The machines ran 24 hours a day. Their mechanical rhythm became the soundtrack of the town. But hidden behind its success were dark secrets that only surfaced years later. An old leather-bound journal found in 2002 at the home of a deceased supervisor named Santoso revealed troubling details. The machine at line 3 must never be turned off. That's what the management said. They said if it stops, something will come to collect. I don't know who they mean, but every time someone tries to stop it, someone gets hurt. Santoso died of a sudden heart attack. Both his ears were bleeding when he was found. Former employees confirmed that Line 3 was both the most productive and the most dangerous section of the factory. At least 7 workers had died there, some from accidents, others who simply vanished during night shifts. The one constant? The Line 3 machine never stopped, even during the night of the fire in 1998. Witnesses from nearby villages recalled seeing a red glow through the windows, like burning embers that refused to die, even as rain poured down that night. In 2022, a small investigative team from a YouTube channel called Urban Dark Files received permission from the local authorities to enter the Chiptaguna compound. The moment they stepped onto the premises, they smelled something unmistakable. Burnt fabric mixed with the oily stench of old machinery. The team brought power meters, cameras, and a thermal drone. There was no electricity connection to the site, yet the corridor lights flickered dimly as if powered from within. In the administration office, they discovered the employee attendance board.
The last date marked was May 21, 1998, the day before the fire. But the sheet below it listed October 5, 2021, with the same names signed in, including those of workers who had died 2 decades ago. Their footage shows faint human figures walking through the production line, wearing gray uniforms and carrying rolls of fabric. The thermal camera detected active heat around line 3, resembling metal friction, even though all the equipment had been dismantled years earlier. One crew member, Randy, whispered that he heard a woman's voice behind him saying, "Don't stop the machine. They're not done yet." Seconds later, all the lights went out. Their backup generator failed. When power returned, one member, Rio, was gone. His safety helmet and camera lay on the ground. He was never found.
The villagers living nearby call it the Factory of Ghosts. An elderly groundskeeper, Pak Udin, claimed that every Friday night he could see trucks entering the compound. "I see the gates open by themselves," he said. "Lights come on. You can hear voices shouting names, like roll calls. Then by morning, it's quiet again. The gate is locked, and there are no tire marks." A food vendor, Mrs. Sarima, reported receiving phone orders from Chiptaguna employees. Quote, "They order 20 rice boxes every night. The payments always left in an envelope by the gate. The bills look new, but they smell like burnt cloth." When police investigated, they discovered the money wasn't real, just old factory paper with red ink stamps reading Depart Textile Production CGI 1988. 2 days later, Sarima fell ill. She screamed in her sleep, saying, "Someone's hand is pulling me into the machine." The fire that destroyed Chiptaguna erupted on May 22, 1998, at the height of Indonesia's economic crisis. Officially, it was caused by an electrical short circuit, but survivors told a different story. A worker named Ratna, who was on the evening shift, recalled, "We were ready to go home, but the machine in line 3 was still running. The supervisor said, 'Leave it, they're working overtime,' but we knew everyone had already gone home." Minutes later, an explosion ripped through the building. Flames spread rapidly, trapping dozens inside. Ratna saw burning figures rush toward the windows, their screams echoing into the night, but none of the bodies recovered later could be identified. Even stranger, when the fire brigade arrived, the Line 3 machines were still spinning, weaving a long red cloth, even though the entire building had lost power. After that tragedy, the area was permanently sealed. Yet on every May 22nd, locals claimed to hear the faint thrum of textile looms and the metallic clang of production, as if the factory resumes its final shift once a year. Years later, a former technician anonymously revealed that in its final years, Chiptaguna wasn't just producing fabric. It was part of a classified experiment, creating a synthetic fiber blended with organic proteins. The goal was to make an indestructible, heat-resistant textile. But the technician hinted that the organic source was human. According to him, missing workers were part of material tests. The management, allegedly backed by a foreign company, used living tissue samples to fuse with the fiber strands. One recovered lab note found in the factory's control room read, "The fiber has merged. The machine must not stop. The subjects have bonded with the thread." The note was confiscated by an independent researcher, Dr. Anwar, who later died by apparent suicide. He was found hanging in his home, a red thread wrapped tightly around his neck.
In mid-2023, the local electricity board recorded an anomaly. Massive power consumption coming from the dead industrial zone between midnight and 4 a.m. A field engineer, Agus Vermonsha, was sent to investigate. Over the radio, he reported, "I'm at the site, but this can't be right. The place is lit up. There are people inside. Are you sure this factory is closed?" That was his last transmission. His car was later found idling on the roadside, doors open, headlights still on. Security footage from a nearby tower captured something impossible. Hundreds of silhouettes in uniforms walking out of the factory gate, then vanishing into thin air. The government sealed the area the next morning, yet the villagers still hear the faint sound of sirens and singing workers drifting through the night wind. In December 2024, a film student from Jakarta, Ari Prasetyo, began working on a documentary about the Ciptaguna mystery. He operated only with a drone, afraid to enter the site himself. The aerial footage revealed what appeared to be a fully operational factory. Bright lights, workers hauling cloth rolls, and rows of machines moving in rhythm. But when he flew the drone closer, the figures disappeared instantly. Upon reviewing the footage, Ari froze. One frame clearly showed a man in a white safety helmet looking up and smiling at the drone camera. His ID card read, Fajar Vichaksono, Field Supervisor. Fajar, the YouTuber who vanished 2 years before. After that, Ari began receiving late-night phone calls from unknown numbers. When he answered, all he heard was the whirring sound of textile machines and a whisper, "The night shift isn't over, Ari. Come to line 3. In 2025, the government decided to demolish the entire industrial complex, including Ciptaguna. But the moment the first excavator struck the wall, the entire factory lit up. Every lamp, siren, and speaker burst to life. From inside came an old melody, Bengawan Solo, a song that workers used to sing during their breaks. The excavator operator, Danu, shouted frantically over the radio, "There are people inside! So many! They don't have faces!" Seconds later, every machine on site died. When rescuers reached him, Danu was unconscious, his palms covered in fine dust, strands of cloth fiber. By morning, the building stood intact again. Not a single crack. It was as if the factory had repaired itself. The demolition project was immediately cancelled. The government fenced off the entire area, labeling it restricted zone, danger of collapse. But locals knew better. It wasn't the building they feared. It was what refused to stop working inside it. 27 years after the tragedy, the Ciptaguna textile factory still stands, untouched, undying. No one can say what truly happens inside, a supernatural phenomenon, a collective illusion, or proof of something that transcends human understanding. Satellite imaging from an independent research group recently captured a heat signature in the shape of a circular pattern glowing from the factory roof, like a spinning loom, every night at exactly 2:33 a.m. the most chilling part. The satellite detected 48 moving human forms within the perimeter, the same number of workers who perished in the 1998 fire. Days after the report was published, the research site was hacked and all data was wiped clean. Then, a new anonymous YouTube channel appeared, posting a single video titled "Night Shift at Chiptaguna. Production resumes." The 2-minute clip shows blurry footage of workers in gray uniforms turning on red weaving machines. On the wall behind them, written in dripping letters, were the words, "The machine must never stop." Then the screen fades to black. A faint female voice whispers one last sentence. "We're still working here."